Hash a home for two hearts. The snow fell silently on Fifth Avenue, each flake catching the warm glow of streetlights like tiny stars descending from heaven. Sarah Mitchell sat huddled against the cold brick wall of the hospital, her thin blue scrubs offering little protection against the bitter December wind. Her bare legs trembled beneath her uniform dress, and she pulled her knees closer to her chest, trying to preserve what little warmth remained in her exhausted body. She had been sitting there for nearly 2 hours now, watching the evening shift change through the hospital's glass doors. Nurses, doctors, and orderlies passed by in their warm coats, heading home to heated apartments and hot meals. Sarah closed her eyes and tried to remember what that felt like. It had been 3 weeks since her landlord had changed the locks on her studio apartment. 3 weeks of sleeping in hospital break rooms when she could manage it, or on park benches when security found her. The sound of expensive leather shoes clicking against wet pavement made her look up. A tall man in an impeccable charcoal suit was walking toward her, his dark hair slightly tousled by the wind. He moved with the confident stride of someone accustomed to boardrooms and corner offices, yet something in his expression seemed softer than she expected. In his arms, he carried a small child bundled in a bright red winter coat. David Harrison had been coming to this hospital every evening for the past month, bringing his 3-year-old daughter Emma for her ongoing treatment. The little girl had been struggling with severe asthma since her mother's death 8 months ago, and the doctors said the stress and grief had made her condition worse. Tonight, like every other night, Emma had fallen asleep during the long wait for her appointment. As David approached the hospital entrance, he noticed the young woman sitting against the wall. Even in the dim light, he could see she was shivering. Her hospital ID badge identified her as Sarah Mitchell, RN. He had seen her before, always kind to the patients, always working late into the evening. But tonight, she looked different. Vulnerable, lost. "Excuse me," David said quietly, stopping a few feet away. "Are you all right?" Sarah looked up, startled. She recognized him immediately. He was Emma's father, the successful CEO who came every evening, always impeccably dressed, always gentle with his daughter. She had often wondered about their story, noticing how he seemed to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders despite his obvious wealth. "I'm fine," Sarah replied automatically, though her voice betrayed her exhaustion. "Just taking a break." David glanced at her bare legs, at the way she held herself against the cold, and something clicked into place. "You're not going home tonight, are you?" The directness of his question caught Sarah off guard. She had become skilled at deflecting concern from her colleagues, at maintaining the professional facade that kept her employed. But there was something in this man's voice, a gentleness that made her defenses crumble. "I don't have a home to go to," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Emma stirred in David's arms, and her small face appeared above the collar of her red coat. Her large brown eyes, so much like her father's, looked down at Sarah with innocent curiosity. "Daddy, why is the nice nurse sitting in the cold?" Emma asked in her sweet, high voice. Sarah's heart melted at the sight of the little girl. She had always been drawn to children, had chosen pediatric nursing because their resilience and joy gave her hope. Emma was one of her favorite patients, always polite, always brave during her treatments. "Hi, sweetheart," Sarah said softly, managing a smile despite her circumstances. "I was just watching the pretty snow." David felt something shift inside his chest as he watched the interaction between his daughter and the homeless nurse. For months, he had been struggling to be both father and mother to Emma, working impossible hours to maintain his company while trying to provide the emotional support his daughter desperately needed. Emma rarely smiled anymore, rarely showed interest in anything. But now, looking at Sarah, her face lit up with genuine warmth. "You know," David said slowly, as if the words were forming themselves, "I have a proposition for you." Sarah looked up at him questioningly. "You need a home," he continued, his voice steady but gentle. "And I need a mother for my daughter." "Not in the traditional sense," he added quickly, seeing her surprised expression. "But Emma needs someone who understands children, someone who can be there when I can't. Someone who cares about her well-being the way you do." The offer hung in the snowy air between them like a bridge neither had expected to find. "I don't understand," Sarah said carefully. "I'm offering you a position," David explained. "Live-in nanny and companion for Emma. You'd have your own room, your own space. You could continue working at the hospital if you wanted, or focus entirely on Emma. Whatever felt right. Sarah stared at him, hardly daring to believe what she was hearing. You don't even know me. I could be anyone. David shifted Emma gently in his arms. I know you're the nurse who stays late to read stories to the children who can't sleep. I know you remember every patient's favorite color and their siblings' names. I know you made Emma laugh last week when she was scared about her breathing treatment. That tells me everything I need to know about who you are. Emma reached out a small, mittened hand toward Sarah. Would you come live with us? Daddy makes good pancakes, but he doesn't know any princess stories. Sarah felt tears welling in her eyes. The kindness of this offer, the trust this man was placing in her, felt almost too good to be true. But looking at Emma's hopeful face, and seeing the genuine care in David's expression, she realized that sometimes the most unexpected solutions were exactly what broken hearts needed. I would like that very much, Sarah said quietly. David smiled, and for the first time in months, the weight on his shoulders felt a little lighter. He reached down and offered Sarah his coat. Then let's get you home. Both of you are coming home. As Sarah wrapped the warm wool coat around her shoulders, and as David helped her to her feet, Emma clapped her hands together with delight. The snow continued to fall around them, but none of them felt the cold anymore. Walking toward David's car, Sarah realized that sometimes family isn't born from blood or marriage, but from the simple recognition that people need each other. Sometimes home isn't a place you return to, but a place you create together, one small act of kindness at a time. Behind them, the hospital glowed warm in the winter night, a place where healing happened every day. But ahead of them lay something even more precious, the chance to heal each other, to build something beautiful from the broken pieces of their separate lives. The snow fell softer now, blessing their small procession with the quiet promise that tomorrow would be warmer than today.